Welcome to the Mindset RX podcast. My name is Tom Foxley and I help functional athletes gain the champ's mindset. You're not going to be hearing much from me today because in a few moments I'm going to be introducing the one and only Mr. Mark England of Procabulary. If you haven't listened to our previous episode, go back, find it, just get on iTunes and search for Mindset RX and the name Mark England, and you can find out a bit more about Mark, but he'll give you a quick intro into who he is and what he does. But in short, he is the language master. Whenever I've got anything to think about with my athletes or myself regarding the language we use, Mark is my first point of call. In short, he's excellent at what he does. You're about to hear us talk about a one-time only workshop for athletes, basically CrossFit athletes, but any kind of athletes as well. But it's going to apply to your whole life as well. It's called Winning the Mental Game. Learn to think, focus, and follow through like a champion. It's going to be excellent. Basically, we're going to touch on being stronger mentally, what separates the champions from everybody else. What would you like to be would you like to be more focused and successful in the gym? And do you want to get better results from your training? That's pretty much it. So this event is being held in London on July 14th at the gym CrossFit 1971. It's a 4-hour workshop from 1 in the afternoon to 5 in the afternoon. And I basically can't wait to see you there. I'll give you a link at the end again, or during this podcast, and at the end, because I want you to go there. But check it out at, or you can find out a bit more details and buy your tickets at mindsetrx.com/procabulary. So Procabulary is spelled Procabulary. So you can find all details at mindsetrx.com/procabulary. Now let's get on with the show. So Mr. England, welcome back to what is it? It was actually the Alpha Movement podcast when you originally came on. It's now Mindset RX. It was. So welcome back, but to the new podcast.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Foxley. You're up-leveling. I approve of this message.
Happy days. So let's start off by unveiling the big secret. So was it July 14th?
July 14th.
Yeah, at least one of us knows. July 14th, we're going to be hosting the best event that's hit London ever. In the history of ever. Go back as far as you want. There's been nothing better. We're going to be hosting it. It's all about how to master your mental performance, winning the mental game. And why don't you start off by going over or touching on a few things that you definitely want to hit within this kind of workshop / seminar / however you want to call it.
Yes, please. I know very well what it's like to drive a career in athletics into the ground, crash and burn, in fashion, in a foreign country, and make the whole process so painful. And that's what started me on the path of investigating the stories we create, the language that we use. And just recently I had a fascinating experience where I got a check-in. The universe gave me a check-in, and it came in the form of a broken arm. So if the people that are listening know anything about my background, or maybe saw the TED Talk, something along those lines, I was a kickboxer in college, an MMA guy, and I wanted to go pro because all my friends were going pro. It's the thing to do. And I chose to move to Thailand. The cover story was go over there and teach for a year and then come back. The real story was I was going to go over there and up-level my kickboxing game and come back and go pro. I'd done well on the amateur circuit, and it was about time to make the move into the bigger leagues, and I wanted better stand-up. Anyway, I go over there, long, juicy, painful story short, and jack up my knee for the second time. I had my second knee surgery over there. And Tom, I created the worst story for myself. And not only the most victim-centric, They did this to me. I had all the proof of all the people that shouldn't have done what they did and how things should have gone because blah, blah, blah. And then all of that also reinforced my fears and insecurities about myself, that I was not good enough. The telephobia, the dragon slayer of professional athletes and fitness athletes. Let's just say people at the gym. It's the killer of dreams, the slayer of goals. A telephobia, by definition, the fear of not being good enough. And mine struck hard. And dude, I went over there with my girlfriend, a super cool girl, and God bless her, man. She stuck it out for a couple of years, but I didn't laugh for a whole year. I turned into a miserable person. I turned me into a miserable person through a story. Fast forward to March 13th, 2018. Mike Bledsoe and I are in Phoenix, Arizona, and we go to a jiu-jitsu class. I've probably rolled 15 times in the past 15 years. So my jiu-jitsu at best is antiquated. I'm like a time capsule. And we go into 10th Planet, Phoenix. These guys are known for being super cutting edge. They have their own language. I mean, you know the score, you roll. And we did 2 classes. Mike and I were talking about this yesterday. And he wants to go. I want to stay and roll. So he stays and talks to the instructor. And I go with one of their better guys. And the dude was cool. It was a freak accident. And it's been blessings, nothing but blessings. He put me in something called a Kimura from the half guard. I hadn't seen that before, the way he did it. I thought I could get out. I didn't think he had it. He had it. And I twisted my arm out and extended it. You ever had a breast of chicken and you've got the wing in your hand and you just slowly torque it, and then all of a sudden it goes with a snap and a crunch and several rips? My elbow did that. He let go. He was mortified. I looked down at my arm. I looked at him. I looked back at my arm. I looked at him. And in a matter of 30 seconds, because I knew it was jacked, in a matter of 30, 40 seconds, I reorganized the next 6 months of my life because I knew I needed to get surgery. It was the most clear experience of simply staying present and seeing it for what it is, because my elbow, what's going on with my elbow, and my story about my elbow, those can be 2 different things. So in Thailand, I created this massive, horrendous story about the whole thing, and it made it seriously 1,000 times worse. I kept the story of my elbow small and concise, and so I could see what the next steps were from the very next steps, which was putting some ice on it and getting in the car and driving, because this thing's going to lock up and I'm the only person on the insurance. So I gotta make moves in the next 20 minutes to canceling a May seminar at On It, and considering how I'm going to work the Paleo Effects booth, and then what am I going to do about getting it fixed. So, and it was a much better profoundly smoother ride. Next week I fly to Thailand, and my business partner and I are turning lemons into lemonade. So I'm getting reconstructive surgery. I'm going to be in a cast when I rock up for the gig. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Happy days, man. Because I know how to manage my story. I know how to detail my story. See, here's the thing that people need to know, athletes, anyone that wants to achieve fitness goals. There's and this is what you teach in mindset training, is that there are ways that we can talk ourselves out of the game so quick. There are ways that there's specific language sequences. There are words that force people into seeing things in the worst light, creating indecision, doubt, resentment, bitterness, guilt. And when someone knows how to, it's the same, it's the same thing as helping someone increase or develop their functional movement, their technique in the snatch or the deadlift or any particular movement function in CrossFit or anything like that. Most people start with horrible technique or bad technique, and then over time they're coached out of that poor alignment and into something that they can really enjoy. So people that understand the movements, that's one of the big things with CrossFit, is getting over that, am I doing things correctly? And then once people get those, they develop those skill sets, they can get in the gym and they can lose themselves in the workout. Okay. It's the same thing with the story. Most people don't have any education about how their language influences them for better or for worse. And that's totally what we're going to do in this seminar. We're going to go into the finer points of how to develop the mind game, the story work, the specific language of success, of focus, of how to build momentum, of how to keep. We're often asked, what is vocabulary? And it's very simple. Vocabulary is a productivity tool. It helps you organize what you think and say so you stay focused on what matters. And the people that focus and stay focused on what matters, those are the people that train well for the long haul. Okay, they're in it and they stay in it in healthy ways. They don't overtrain because they're trying to compensate for some perceived insecurity about themselves. They let themselves rest well, and they get more out of their workouts. This kind of, so Mike Bledsoe and I, we just did a workshop in Winston-Salem at Travis Mash's gym. This was last weekend, and we went into the art science of how to build what the championship gear, the champion's gear. And when people build that out and they do these writing exercises and they get clear about what words to use less of and what words to use more of, their game in the gym goes up and their game outside the gym goes up, and they like it.
I think the thing that I really like about what this is going to be is that you've mentioned how so many times. It's how we're going to do it. It's not going to be the fact that we're going to stand up in front of you and say, you just need to be more determined. You need to push harder. you need to do X, Y, and Z without telling you the instruction. We're going to say exactly, these are the steps you go through. This is what you need to introduce to your day. This is how you do it. This is the way that you personally are going to do it, and we're going to allow it to adapt to you. And I'm excited about this as well, because every time I speak to you, I learn something from you. Whether it's about goal setting or whether it's about the intricacies of language, you always pick up on something. And I think, I know that everyone else is going to feel exactly the same way when they begin to speak to you and to listen to you.
Very cool. Yes. And likewise, Tom, it's been a pleasure to watch you build for you to build. You're an architect. You're a total architect. And anyone that comes to this seminar is going to walk out with better whys, why to do and implement these thought processes and writing exercises. And we're totally going to do that. We're going to do goal setting, high level goal setting. Okay. And we're also going to deconstruct these victim stories, also known as helping people breathe better. We have holes, brother, in our language, and it's dysfunctional. And to make it very applicable and relatable, one of these particular aspects of dysfunction that we talk about a lot, which is why we do well in the functional fitness and yoga environments, is that people keep themselves in a stressed state with their words. Certain words activate that sympathetic nervous system response. And people's 99.9% of people, their breathing is trapped in their chest. And you know very well what happens with that. amongst other many unpleasant things. Cortisol spikes, testosterone goes down. Okay, we locked up. People turn into terrible listeners. If you want to be a better student, if you want to learn faster, then learn to downregulate yourself through your story. Your breathing will descend back down into your abdomen where it should be. Parasympathetic nervous system response. Mike Bledsoe was talking about this in Travis Mash's gym. He said that it is impossible to learn new skills when someone is in a stressed state. The neurons do not fire well, and the neural networks do not fuse. And we're going to change that. And so it's what you learn, it's what you get out of the workshops, and then you're taking stuff home with you. We want you to get this and go home and use it. Exercises, writing exercises, stories, paired exercises, goal setting. It's going to be 4 hours of gold. People, please come. You're going to be thanking yourself. You'll thank yourself it'll be the best seminar that you go to on mindset training for the entire year. I promise you that.
It's going to be good. I tell you what, I'm just going to drop in the URL that I'm going to have now. I'm going to put this in the podcast comments as well, on the podcast notes. So wherever you're listening to the podcast, there'll be a link here. But if you go to MindsetRx, so mindsetrxd.com, let's put /procabulary. Mark, you can spell that just so sure. my mind doesn't go all over the place. So go for it.
Fair enough. So it's like vocabulary, but procabulary. PROCABULARY.
Perfect. So mindsetrx.com /procabulary, and we'll love to see you there. And it's going to be an awesome event.
Bring a friend. You'll be talking about it for years. Seriously.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mindset RX podcast. As I said right at the beginning, this event is a one-time only event, and it's being held at CrossFit 1971 in London on Saturday, July the 14th from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. And you can get your tickets just one last time. I'm going to remind you, and I'm not going to talk about this again. This is your one chance to go and get them. So head to mindsetrx.com /procabulary and you'll be forwarded to the Eventbrite page where you can buy your tickets. And I can't wait to see you there.